All right, and welcome back to another episode with the NSX here on AHC Garage. You got Jonathan right here, VTech Killer, and you got Mike behind the camera. And what we got right here is Charlotte, our 1993 NSX 3.5 liter stroker car. Twin turbo? Well, it's got none of that right now because the engine's out, getting fixed at the machine shop. We did get some information on that, but that's for another video. And right now, we've got everything broke down, fuel tank out, engine out, transmission out, everything's apart. So I think what we got to do now is start getting it ready for Brian. And that's going to involve stripping out this engine bay here and overall prep. We don't quite know exactly what he needs, so hopefully we can get him on one of our next videos or in this one later to give us a breakdown on what he wants from us. But right now we're going to start getting this area ready to look beautiful again. See how much paint it's going to need in here, or if a good cleaning will do it. It's not very pretty right now. We got a bunch of stuff we want to take out to refinish and just overall cleaning. So I hope you guys are ready for this one, because all we're doing is taking the dirt off of this old lady and trying to give her some new life. But here's the bay, and here's what our plans are right now. Right now, this part, this harness is probably going to stay, but we're going to get the fuel filter, the fuel pump resistor out, and just the motor mounts, these plates. We're going to get the coolant pipes off, all of that good stuff right there, the fuse box, the little sensor box we got there, maybe the fuel filler neck, and try and get the harnesses out. The idea is to strip this down as best we can and see about how clean it gets. If it doesn't get that clean, then it's going to need some paint. If we can save it, we're going to save it. So time to clean it up and get it ready. That works. The map sensor.
Woo. Don't stab yourself now.
Twist it. Yeah, like that. I'll go, yeah, that's it. Hey, don't scratch my paint. Hi, I identify as an NSX engine. All right, so we got most of our stuff in the bay cleared out. There's not a whole lot to it now that the drivetrain's out. Now we're gonna get the coolant pipes out because they definitely need some looking after and some cleaning up. So to get to that, we're gonna remove this panel. This is also gonna expose the positive battery cable, which this car probably has one of the longest positive battery cables I've seen before, because it goes from the front all the way to the back, and that includes the positive battery terminal. So if you mess up the terminal, either you got to chop it off, put it on, or drop the fuel tank, remove the coolant hoses and get it from the complete bottom here. It's a little bit crazy, but let's get this off and see. I do not recommend using these style clamps on hoses. They tend to bite in and cause damage. I like spring clamps or something that's smooth, but these little holes always tend to add a little bit more cut into there. We're just slightly cutting into this to take it off because we're definitely not reusing any of these. Let's see, there might be a little, yeah, there's a little coolant left in there. Yeah, right. And we got one more. That'll be our brake booster line. We're going to pull this out so that we can remove the brake booster from the engine bay, or the brake booster line from the engine bay. This is the clutch line. That's going to need to be fixed because they had a weird conversion done to it. So we're going to see if we can't replace that one line. That's all disconnected. So now all we have is this, and we have our shift linkage. It looks like the shift linkage hangs on a small mount here. So we'll loop that up and get it ready to come off. Okay. Look at that.
Oh man, you got a 3-1 header there.
Well, that's what it looks like.
A little DC Sport you got there, huh, John?
Yeah. This thing is actually crazy light. Look at all this corrosion built up on here.
Is this the first time you replaced this pipe?
I've never taken one out. Looks like it's in good shape. I don't think it was leaking through any of that. I think it's just other corrosion. It's all right. So we'll have to get this cleaned up and see what it looks like after a little bit of repair. Yeah, I can. Brake line, brake booster. This looks like it's some kind of composite. Very nice.
John, look at that pink back there.
Yeah, it's probably never seen the light of day, huh?
Buddy, if we can get this engine bay back to that, I think we'll be okay.
How about this? Look, you see the VIN right there?
Yeah.
Number 35. All right, so we bolted up the suspension. That way we can roll this car out of here and get it to its next place so we're not tying up a booth, or I should say a lift. We're not quite sure when Brian's going to get to it. So once we finish what we're doing here, the car might move outside for a little bit to live after all the cleaning. But I think the cleaning on this is going to be substantial. Let's see something very light here. We got one spot we'll just touch. How about right there? Little glass cleaner.
John, you gotta get some detail offset.
Yeah, well, the paint underneath isn't perfect, but man, that how's that for a clean spot, right? We got some work to do.
Wow.
I think it should clean up really good. Look at that. And it's like brand new. Who needs Brian? Paint Society, who?
All right, guys, so John got the gas tank and the engine bay all emptied out. He didn't want to do this, so I'm gonna get started, get an engine bay cleaned up and also the undercarriage. And we're gonna start off with the engine bay and take a look at the engine bay here. It does look pretty dirty, but I think those are just surface dirt and grease that's on it. I'm gonna stay very optimistic. I think once we get this cleaned up and do a light polish, we might not even have to paint the engine bay. And we're gonna start off the engine bay with this cleaner from Chemical Guys. This is a very low abrasive cleaner, so it's not gonna strip the paint off. And all we're gonna do is just do a quick spray all around the engine bay, let it soak for a little bit, brush it off, and pressure it off with a pressure cleaner. And let's see how she looks. Guys, we spent the last 30 minutes scrubbing this down. As you can see, it's a pretty dirty job. I wonder why John is nowhere to be found. But next up, we're gonna use a pressure cleaner to pressure clean this up. Let's see how she looks afterward. And guys, here's the end result. It looks very, very promising. I think once it's dried off, it's gonna dull up a little bit. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to polish it a little bit to see how it looks. Man, I'm thinking right now, I don't think we have to paint this engine bay at all. Now next up, we're working on suspension. We're gonna use something a little bit more abrasive to get a lot of this grease and old grime out of the aluminum pieces here. And for this job, we'll be using our super clean favorite product right here. So we got a suspension and engine bay out of the way. Next up, we'll work on under the hood. We'll try to get this cleaned up. A lot of components still there, but I think with this chemical guy cleaning here, it's not very abrasive. You can see an engine bay, none of the paint even coming off. So we'll go ahead and use this to brush off the rest of the grimes and stuff underneath here. And once we finish off here, we'll work on our inner fenders on both front and the rear, and maybe give it a bath on the exterior as well. Here we go, guys.
All right, so the guy's got the whole vehicle all nice and cleaned up. Now there's a little bit of dust on there from just sitting a day or two, but what we wanted to do before we assess the paint is really get it clean. So if you take a look at the actual car, the panels are faded and they got a little bit of what we call dieback, but the engine bay doesn't. Now the engine bay is original paint, and since it's been covered up and behind glass and not really seeing the sun too much, the color is really preserved, which really makes us not want to paint it. We don't really want to get into something that doesn't necessarily need paint, and you don't really see a little parts of the engine bay once everything is assembled. So what we're going to do is just give it a nice buff and ceramic coating that will really bring the gloss back to the engine bay, and I'm going to show you how right now. All right, so we're here in the engine bay, and yeah, the engine bay, it's a little bit dull in here. Just want for a little bit of shine up and clean up. I'm gonna use like a glass cleaner first, just make sure there's no debris or anything on the actual surface. And we're just gonna do one area here, and I'm gonna show you how it's gonna work, and I'm gonna show you a couple different buffers that you can use. Now, I don't claim to be a mobile detailer or paint expert as far as correction, but I know how to get a shine out of the paint. So what we're gonna use first is we're gonna just use the polish. We don't need to use the compound because we don't wanna go too aggressive. We just really wanna bring just a little bit of shine back. Now we have two polishers. Now this polisher is a little bit pricey, but it's a very high-end DA polisher. It's got a 3-inch pad. Now this is a knockoff version of the Roop, so one that you've probably seen before, the Nano. Now I do have the new Nano, but I haven't used it yet because this is a nicer, cheaper version that you can use for jobs just like this. We'll leave the link in the description. And the reason why I like it is, check this out. There's certain areas that you just need to get into, and I'm going to show you exactly how it works. All right, so we'll put a little bit on the surface and we'll get it worked in here, and then I'll show you what the result is. We'll bring it up a little bit, and you can see how it gets around all those areas, those intricate areas that might be a little bit tough to get to with a traditional buffer. And this is exactly what we're looking like. We just want a little bit of shine to come back, so once the engine is back installed and you're looking at this, you say, wow, was that engine bay repainted? Well, no, all it was just paint corrected. So we can turn it off here and wipe up any of the debris. And then we can see here that just a simple pass from here to over to the left just brings back the shine, and it's literally that easy. Now, you're not going to use this on everything, then that's when you can get a bigger buffer, which you'll see, and you can use that on your spots like so, that have bigger surface area without brackets in between. And that's all there is to it. You can see how this covers a bigger surface area. And we can work those areas much better. Now, any area that might have a little bit of paint missing, we'll go ahead and touch that up so you won't have to see it. Now, one of the main reasons why we opted not to paint it is mainly because of all these OEM labels. Some of them you can't really get, and even if we're to get replica, they're not going to be exactly the same. We didn't want to tape them off. We want to keep this as original as possible, so that's one of the main reasons why we chose to do it this way. So now let's go ahead and get the rest of this all polished up.
So amazingly, you saw Brian starting to actually make progress. When you see something like that, that means we actually got him to work. It's a pretty important thing. So now to help him to keep working, so we don't have any excuses why he's taking so long, we're gonna go ahead and drop the subframe on the car. We're gonna pull the wheels off. It's loosely reinstalled here because there's no engine or drivetrain in the car. So we're gonna go ahead and get this out the way so that he can continue to do his part and we can clean up the subframe and all the suspension pieces out of the car. You guys saw us do it before. It'll go a lot quicker this time. Man, I can't wait to get these wheels back on my car.
Hey, you were mumbling something, John.
I was saying that your car is very beautiful when it's on my wheels. Oh. But now two of them are off. They'll probably be hanging around till we get this car done. As long as I have them back for NSX Expo, which, believe it or not, today is May 20th, and everything opened up for it. Who knows when this video will come out, but I've already registered and signed up for our track day. Super exciting, the first NSX Expo I've been to. And our goal is to get this one here. That's the goal, get it to NSX Expo. And it won't be on my wheels, it'll be on its own wheels, I'm sure. All right, so it's pretty simple what we have holding this up. We're gonna take a few of the bolts that hold the strut up into the upper strut mount. Everything comes down as a complete unit. We're gonna get some jack stands. We're not gonna use our fancy table because it's a little too bulky, and we wanna have enough room to really get around everything, because we wanna clean off, you know, this is some undercoat, this is undercoat, there's some dirt and grease. All this stuff, since it's aluminum, with a little bit of degreaser and a brush or a Scotch pad, this shines up like it's brand new. There's a couple of spots on here that you can see where Mike hit it here and right here. And this is only really light work, so a little effort goes a long way with aluminum. That's why you see a lot of the dry ice cleaning stuff really comes out on aluminum. But other than that, let's show you how we get it down. It should be pretty quick. One of them came out where we can fix that, or we may be replacing the coilovers altogether. When we get around to that part, we'll let you guys know. These here, and then a few on the bottom. Look about the same. Little bits. All right, we're touchdown.
Good there?
Yeah, we're kind of touchdown everywhere pretty even. So let's just see what happens from here. It's loose now.
And now we're ready to get this engine bay as polished as possible. Now, one thing I was noticing when we were polishing it up is that basically this is not really a traditional base and clear coat job. It's almost just kind of a misted overspray. So there's not a whole lot of material to polish, but we just want to see if we can get a little bit more shine out of the finish. So we kind of went at it the best we could with our mini buffers and our 3-inch buffers to get the most shine out. Now, once we did that, then we stepped into the ceramic coat, and I'll tell you, this ceramic coat was a good call, because we're going to be able to get a lot more of that luster and protect the engine bay at this point. Since this paint is kind of weak already, putting a ceramic coat on it's going to help it and enhance it that much more. So the ceramic coat is basically pretty easy. Now, we're only focusing on this part in the video, but we actually did the whole entire engine bay, even the areas where you never would see. Now, the cool thing about ceramic coat is really do-it-yourself friendly. You can go ahead and put it on, and about 15 minutes later, once it flashes off, all you gotta do is just basically wipe it off, just like we're seeing here. You can see the shine already in the video. After the ceramic coat dries, even after 24 hours, it's really, really clear, and it gives it a great gloss. So I'm happy that we went ahead and didn't do the full paint job. It would be a little bit too much for this particular engine bay that I feel like we could have got some sort of shine out of. And when it's all done, let me tell you guys, it really came out super nice.
All right, guys, so you saw everything we got dropped down, everything we took apart, all in preparation for getting the car painted and putting it back together. We got the tank down, we got all the plumbing out of there, all the electrical. Mike did a big cleanup on there, you guys saw that. And on top of that, you got to see what Brian and JC were able to do with some polishing and ceramic coating, because we don't want to paint this bay. It's going to shave a bunch of time and cost off of the project. And I think what Brian and JC were able to do really saved it and brought it together. We got the suspension down. We're still doing some cleaning and work on that, but soon everything will be coming back together. We're waiting on our engine. We've finally had progress on that. We had to get custom ordered pistons. That was a whole ordeal. but everything is moving forward, and we're still, I mean, we're all praying we're still on track for NSX Expo, which is the 1st to the 5th of October this year in Orlando. But I think everything's coming along. You know, projects always have a lot of headaches, but we're working together, 2 different departments now working together, if you will, if you can call Brian's department anything special. But, you know, he's getting to work kind of, I think, maybe, I'm not sure. But either way, progress is happening. But if you guys like what you're seeing, the next steps are going to be really cool, because we're going to be putting the motor back together and then starting to, hopefully Brian's videos of ripping the car down to paint will be happening soon. But lots coming on this one, and we're still on track to meet our goal and make it to NSX Expo this year. If you guys are enjoying this, let us know. Drop us a comment, give us a share, let everyone know what's going on, give us a thumbs up, and just ask questions, because we're here to answer them. Sometimes take a little longer to get back, but we will get to you, and we hope you guys enjoy this. Stay tuned for the next episode.